Atos Origin is a global IT services company. There's about $7.1 billion in revenue. There's 50,000 employees in 40 countries. We are a full-range IT services organization with business consulting, systems integration, and managed operations expertise. I think the main reason that companies invest in an enterprise architecture and business process modeling solution is so they could find a way to demonstrate alignment between the business and IT and create a common language for dialogue between the two organizations. I think it's very important for them to be able to get on the same page and be able to have a dialogue and conversation so that they value each other and can demonstrate how they work together to enable the business. I think we see that the case for action comes from two channels. One channel that we see is companies that have made a decision to go on a business process management journey. And they've seen the value of it, they recognize the value of it, and they're trying to step off and do that type of work. But I think probably even more common is that we become involved during what I would call a company's compelling event. And that compelling event might be an ERP deployment, or it might be a merger or acquisition. And when we come in and are able to show them that there really is a better mousetrap besides Visio and Word, and that there's bigger, stronger, faster tools to help them do the type of work that they're going to have to do anyways, that I think they become more interested in that type of solution and what it could mean for them, not just for that implementation, but for future implementations as well. So we did a fairly comprehensive tool selection process between Provision and other competitors in the marketplace. And we start just as everyone starts. It was a feature and function bake-off, and we saw that Provision had many strengths in that area and compared quite well with other tools. And where the Provision tool really started to outpace the rest of the industry, we thought, was in ease of use. We felt that our consultants could come up to speed very quickly on that tool, which is extremely important to us because we are a consulting company and we sell people and we sell services, and it's important for them to be able to get the tool under wraps very quickly. And also being able to use Provision as a way to provide a service to a client and not necessarily just a product or a license to a client, but to be able to disseminate information in many different ways, in ways that could be one way that could be useful for one area of the organization or another way for a different part of the organization. We thought Provision was quite rich in the different ways that we can support our clients that way. The way that we see Provision applied to business comes at us from two different channels. One way is that companies are struggling with managing change, and they need to get a better understanding of their business processes because they've outsourced or they've offshored, and they're starting to get impacted by ripples in the pond, if you will, that they're making changes in one area of their business that's impacting other areas, and they didn't know or anticipate that impact. And they need to reacquire their knowledge about their business processes and help them manage change better. Another channel that we see quite common is, again, that compelling event channel or that project kind of channel. And that if there's a merger or acquisition that needs to be done and therefore processes need to be normalized across multiple businesses, or if you're going after a shared service center model and you need to normalize processes across numerous countries into a single, say, pan-European type of shared service center, we really see a pretty broad spectrum of how we get engaged with clients in business process management. The way we've seen business process management tools and methods change companies is, again, I'll go back to the two channels. In one channel, when companies come to us to help us apply tools and methods to help them manage change, what we see is the companies being able to conduct better impact analysis, have a better understanding of what's going to be the impact of a proposed change, have a better understanding of what test scenarios and test plans are going to have to run to comprehensively test a change. So we see a lot of value in an organization being able to understand that impact ahead of time, and then once they've decided to move forward with a change, to be able to more comprehensively test it. The other thing is it creates that knowledge base for an organization. That knowledge base can be used for requirements management, for example, and serve as a standing current baseline of business process and requirements. It could be used to help you transfer knowledge. A lot of companies require tremendous agility in their workforce because they've outsourced and they've offshored, and there's a lot of movement in the organization. The other way is if you see more the project or the compelling event channel, that the business process management methodology and tools lend itself very well to a solution delivery lifecycle. So you get much more detailed and comprehensive requirements. You get a much more targeted design. You have a much more comprehensive way to test what your project is about to implement. So I think depending on the channel, you see different value streams coming from that. When we see it used as a vehicle to manage change, then success is quite often measured by defects after change. It's measured by things like a reduced cycle in your requirements definition for a project. It's quicker knowledge transfer as you onboard new resources. Those are kind of the categories of improvements you might see when you're leveraging the process to manage change. When you're doing it to support a compelling event and to support an implementation of a project, for example, then it's back to getting the better requirements, having less test cycles because your testing is more complete and comprehensive, being able to have visibility to the process in requirements phase so that you can get greater user buy-in and greater acceptance of a process that's ultimately implemented. So it's there's again a couple of different channels and different types of metrics that we see in the different scenarios. I think a company that's truly in possession of what we like to call a business process asset, that they've defined the process, they're keeping that process synchronized with what's going on in their systems and their organizations, et cetera, has a significant competitive advantage. It provides them tremendous reuse. It provides them tremendous agility. It drives greater quality and it helps you manage change better. I think it's a significant competitive advantage for a company to continue that journey. So for companies that are kind of at the start of that business process management journey and they really need to understand what it is they need to do to prepare themselves for success, there's a number of different elements that I would recommend that they consider. One is an organizational element. You really most likely will have to change the way your organization works with and thinks about process. Give strong consideration to naming end-to-end business process owners, end-to-end product owners, people who own the underlying technology to support that business process. So think about your organizational elements. From a methodology perspective, there is an early adapter penalty to pay here, and you need to give that consideration. And don't shortcut it. Spend some time thinking through your methodology, thinking through your frameworks and the standards that you want to apply to your business process modeling. If you shortcut that, it's going to lead to significant rework downstream. So you really want to spend some time with that. And I would strongly encourage leveraging a partner for that, leveraging someone that's been there, done that, has a lot of that type of information to share and to transfer that knowledge to you for your second or third or fourth implementation around BPM. I think it's important to be able to understand what you're going to measure. It's important to understand how you're going to demonstrate success. So there's just a number of factors to consider, and then I think it's understanding what your compelling event is. Why is your house on fire? What are you going to grab out of the burning house first? Are you going to hitch your wagon to a particular compelling event? Do you know an ERP implementation is coming up? Do you know you're about to do a merger or acquisition? And really consider letting that compelling event be the primary vehicle for your business case, but to enable it with bigger, stronger, faster tools to help you deliver that and achieve that. So we absolutely believe that business process is just an element of an enterprise architecture, but it is the lead element of enterprise architecture. Everything that you do in an enterprise architecture should be subservient to your business process. It's the only reason why you do other elements of your architecture. So to be able to make associations between your business process and the infrastructures and applications and technologies that support them is a critical part of how IT can demonstrate their value to the business, how you can understand what your business continuity needs are, how you can understand better what your disaster recovery needs are, and to really be able to speak that common language with the business and be able to better articulate IT's value proposition for the business. So I really think that entire suite of business process analysis, enterprise architecture, business process management suites is all relevant to what's ultimately a full-blown, end-to-end, top-to-bottom depiction of an organization's enterprise architecture. And again, if they can get that depiction and leverage and manage that depiction, it's a tremendous competitive advantage for them in the future.